Collective, good morning. I've just wrapped the morning message. If you haven't already, go check it out. I think it's classed as a short because it's less than a minute long. I said yesterday briefly at the beginning of one of my readings that sometimes I just talk to you about things that come as an intuitive and a clairaudient. I get given downloads. I get told things. Things revisit, and I get told to convey the message again. Those of you who know me know how thoughtful I am on my morning dog walks, how it's a time to unravel, to recalibrate, and how to process the world. It's not the only time, obviously I drive an awful lot, we'll get downloads then, but enough of that. Today I got this. Lots of situations have three key components in them. They are stubbornness, trauma, and immaturity. They're a bit of a toxic mix of a cocktail. And pride, lack of communication. They could all have catastrophic, fatal effects. None of us are completely healed in this life. None of us... Yes, a lot of you have led charmed lives, and that's lovely. But we've all got baggage. We've all got a past. We've all had things happen to us in whatever form. Nobody's trauma is any worse or less than anybody else's. It's different in that how it is felt by the individual. Okay. The main thing I think that a lot of us struggle with is trying to grab the reins onto that so that we're able to lead a relatively balanced, unfractured life. And the main ingredient to try and counter that, the elixir for that generally, is forgiveness. Now, before you all click off and start yelling at the screen, in no way am I advocating forgiving the perpetrator or the person or the situation that hurt you. Oh no, I have a massive problem with that myself, in that I feel that forgiving that person or the situation advocates and justifies that behaviour, and it almost certainly does not. I really struggle with that. But one thing I have learned from being on this planet a respectable amount of time and copious years of psychotherapy is that the buck begins and ends with you, and that you need to forgive yourself. A lot of us have trauma from childhood. And I'm going to say this now, and it's quite obvious once pointed out, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm going to say this. Forgive yourself. You were a kid. Most kids don't have any control over their own destiny or their environment, unless you live in some hippie commune in the middle of outer Mongolia somewhere, and I'm not mocking them. If they do, that's lovely, that's wonderful. Good luck to you. I hope you're happy. But most of us live in conventional families in urban areas. We are controlled by the government, we are controlled by society, we are controlled by our parents or our caregivers, whoever that may be. And whilst they may or may have not made the choices that they thought were best at the time, they ultimately had a massive effect on the rest of our lives. As an adult, it is up to you to process that. It is up to you to understand it was not your fault. And as a child, you had no control over that. And this is where forgiveness for yourself comes in. Once you can make peace with yourself in that situation, we spend so much time hating ourselves. When I do liken our life to like a train track, a train journey. We are the train. We have passengers that hop on and off. Some of them just hop on and off for one stop. Some of them press the emergency cord. Some of them stay with us to the end. Some of them can't bloody make their mind up and just stay on the platform. But ultimately, we are the train. Okay, so it begins with us, and no matter what happens in our lives, we are with ourselves to the end of this life. Okay, so the first port of call is forgiving you. No one says, oh, now you've forgiven yourself, now you need to go and forgive them. You don't have to do anything, okay? But you do need to cut yourself some slack, because as much as we annoy ourselves sometimes, we cannot get away from ourselves. So we may as well make the best of it and actually learn to like and love ourselves. And that's where forgiveness for ourselves comes in. Once we can make peace with things for ourselves, our vibration changes. Okay, our perception changes, our sense of self-worth changes. And whilst it changes, we then learn to surrender, to let go. We let the leaves fall and the new buds come in. And then when that happens, new energies come in and our story changes. Okay. We didn't write our first chapters, but we get to write the end. We get to be the author of our own life. Okay. And it's knowing and understanding that you are allowed to make life choices for your reasons, without judgment or condemnation. If you do it with a good, kind heart and the best intention, but looking after yourself first, you're doing everything you can. And anybody that has a problem with that is the problem. I often say about boundaries, in that people have a problem with your boundaries are often the reason you've got boundaries in place in the first place, and I stand by that. Anyone that has your heart, that is in your camp, will be pleased for you levelling up, will be pleased for the changes and the power that you are taking back, and the fact that you are driving your life in a positive direction. And even if they don't agree on the path that you are taking, anybody that loves you truly and has your back and supports you will be pleased you're at least trying, even if they think that you're setting yourself up to fail, which, let's be honest, there's no failure really, it's just learning curves. So you learn, and knowledge is power, right? You don't know if you learn. It's like when you're a kid and you learn to walk. You try and run too fast, you're going to fall over, cut your knee. You learn. You don't do it again. Okay? It's not the end, is it? It's not failure. It's a thing. It's a learning curve. It's what it is. You get up, you process it, you forgive yourself for being a bit of a dilly, you carry on. You try not to do it again. That's pretty much it. So learning to forgive yourself first and foremost. Cutting yourself slack. Understanding that other people's opinions of you don't define you. They're not you. You are you. You're not for everyone. And we know this, and that's okay. But knowing and not taking that as rejection or an indication that there's something wrong with you, one size don't fit. Okay? Sometimes you're just not for them. It's just finding your right seat in the theatre of life. Okay? Sometimes you sit at the back too much with the low vibe energy, you can't see what's going on. Yeah? You need to be able to see. Okay? You see with more than just your eyes. Okay? You hear with more than just your eyes. Open up your senses. Be confident in your own divinity and power. Ask for help. Be humble. Understand it's okay to feel, and it's okay to be emotional sometimes. It's okay to be soft. That's a strength. But keep your boundaries tight. Stay firm. Be a person of your word. But ultimately, be a person of your word to yourself. Don't betray yourself, collective. This is a bit deep, but moon energies can be a bit of a bugger, can't they? And this full moon, it's a weighty one. So I always was told when I was a kid, Hayley, you always say what we're all thinking. So maybe this is the case for that, on this instance. But forgiveness is key with yourself. Now, some of you souls are really quite extraordinary and you're able to forgive perpetrators. I'm not one of them. Some people are. If you are, and that gives you peace, good luck to you. Fair play. And some of you, you're still trying to find your way here, and that's okay. But ultimately, cut yourself some slack. Forgive yourself. Be good. Be kind. And do things with good intention. Be open-minded. Work with the powers that be. It's going to be alright. Have a good day. See ya.